Welcome back everyone to another Blu-ray review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Universal Classic Monsters Complete 30 Film Collection. And this is something that I've actually been wanting to talk about on my channel for a long time. And it is probably more appropriate now than any time of year because it is October and it is probably the most appropriate time of year to revisit or watch these films for the first time and just to talk about them in general. These films, specifically the major films within the collection, Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Phantom of the Opera, they were released several years ago in their own specific collection, which was an essential collection, and then they were released individually in several different versions and forms with new cover arts and all kind of stuff like that. Then they decided to release these specific editions individually, the Legacy collections. And they released all of them separately, then put them all in a box and sold them again. And I actually started buying the complete Legacy collections individually, and then just decided, hey, I want to buy the whole set. I only had bought like 2 of them actually. And so I wasn't really missing out when it came to pricing and stuff like that. But you can still find these specific editions individually, and the major difference between the two is that when you buy them individually, they come in a slip box, and in here they just don't, to save space. And you can buy them individually. It may cost you a little bit more, but you do get the slip boxes. Sometimes this box set does go on sale, so that's nice. But what is different with this set is that you get a booklet that you will not get if you buy them individually. But the booklet here is the same exact booklet they put in the Essential Collection set from a few years ago, which I actually just happened to have here because I never got rid of it. I probably should have sold it when it was, worth a little bit more than it is now, but hey, I'm a collector, so I just kept it. And that's what this looks like. And this was my introduction to the classic monsters. This is when I watched them for the first time. I've since watched them repeatedly over the years. But this is the Essential Collection. You can still find this for a relatively affordable price if you only want the 8 essential films and you don't want all of the sequels and all that kind of stuff. But to be honest, if you're a completist like myself, you want to get the complete collection. So with that being said, let's dive into this set here. These are the classics of classics, the icons of icons. This is where a lot of the iconic images come from, what we perceive as how Frankenstein looks, how Dracula looks, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Invisible Man, The Wolfman, all of these essential characters. When you see them in pop culture, this is the form that they typically take. And that's just a testament to how, how great the legacy is of all of these characters. So let's take a look at first the outer packaging. Here you have the front, which features all of the major characters. Here you have the side, which, similar to what the front looks like. I really love this kind of slate gray aesthetic, and these letters here are embossed, which is really nice. They're also embossed on top as well. And then they're also embossed on the side. A lot of embossing going on here. And then here is the back, where we get a list of all of the films within the set itself. And there are a lot of crossovers with the sets, and I'll get into all of that when we dive into it. So as you can see here, blurb up top, a list of all of the movies, and then a list of many of the special features, but they go into more of that in detail on each individual release. For our purposes here, let me just read off all of the movies in the set. Even though I'm going to be going over them anyways, let's just get a quick rundown. Here you have Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, The Bride of Frankenstein, Werewolf of London, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man Returns, The Mummy's Hand, The Invisible Woman, The Wolfman, The Ghost of Frankenstein, Invisible Agent, The Mummy's Tomb, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, Son of Dracula, The Invisible Man's Revenge, The Mummy's Ghost, The House of Frankenstein, The Mummy's Curse, House of Dracula, She-Wolf of London, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, Abbott and Costello Meet The Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, and then The Creature Walks Among Us. And yeah, that is all of them. And down here it says there's included a 48-page collectible book, which I'll get into, and then hours of bonus features, behind-the-scenes documentaries, the 1931 Spanish version of Dracula, Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr., and Jack Pierce featurettes, 13 expert feature commentaries, archival footage, production photographs, theatrical trailers, and much more. So let's get into our first set of films in here, and what we have is Dracula, the complete legacy collection, with Bela Lugosi here on the front. Sorry for the glare. And this, it has 6 films from the original legacy, 1931 to 1948. There was also legacy collections that were available on DVD for years. They came in these really cool green cases. I never picked up any of those, but I saw many collectors had them in their collection, and I was always jealous of that. But I have them on Blu-ray now. Now let's take a look here on the back where we get a list of all 6 movies as well as the special features. So, in this set here, we have Dracula, Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And you're probably wondering, why are there Frankenstein films in the Dracula set? Well, that's because there was a lot of crossover happening with Dracula, Wolfman, and Frankenstein. So you're gonna see similar movies in each of their sets because the characters were featured in those movies, so that's why. But for special features, you have the 1931 Spanish version of Dracula, which is really fantastic. Honestly, it may be better than the Bela Lugosi Dracula film. The Road to Dracula documentary, the Lugosi, The Dark Prince, Dracula Archives, alternative Dracula score by Philip Glass, Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters, 3 feature commentaries, production photographs, and theatrical trailers. So taking a look here on the inside, you don't get much in the way of disc art within this set, but let's take a look. Here you have Dracula. The headlining films seem to always get their own discs, while the sequels are kind of relegated to double disking and stuff like that. So there you have Dracula's Daughter and the Son of Dracula, and then here you have a House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula films, and then there you have Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And on the inside cover art here, you get the specific credits for each of the films. So that is Dracula. Next up here, we have Frankenstein. And here you get a shot of Boris Karloff as the monster. And this says all 8 films from the original Legacy Collection 1931 to 1948. And let's take a look at the back here. So for films in this set, we have Frankenstein, The Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, The Ghost of Frankenstein, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. As I said before, there are some crossovers here. So you're going to have multiple copies of several films. But for bonus features, we have The Frankenstein Files, How Hollywood Made a Monster documentary, She's Alive, Creating the Bride of Frankenstein documentary, Karloff the Gentle Monster, Frankenstein Archives, The Bride of Frankenstein Archives, Boo, a short film, and then Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters, and then 4 feature commentaries and theatrical trailers. Opening it up here, once again, we have the headlining film on its own disc, and then the others are mostly doubled up, except for The Bride of Frankenstein also gets its own disc. And The Bride of Frankenstein is a fantastic, amazing sequel to the original film. I really love that film a lot. Here is Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein, and then you get Son of Frankenstein and Ghost of Frankenstein. Next up here, you get Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and then House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula, all on the same disc, so you have 3 movies on the same disc. And then you get Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And then once again, in the back, you get each individual movie's credits and stuff like that. And on to the next Legacy Collection is The Mummy, the Complete Legacy Collection. And this is Boris Karloff here on the front as the Mummy. And this says all 6 films from the original legacy, 1932 to 1955. And looking on the back here, you get a list of all the movies as well as the special features. So, the movies in here are The Mummy, The Mummy's Hand, The Mummy's Tomb, The Mummy's Ghost, The Mummy's Curse, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. And then for bonus features, we have Mummy Dearest, a horror tradition unearthed documentary, He Who Made Monsters, The Life and Art of Jack Pierce, Unraveling the Legacy of the Mummy Archives, 2 feature commentaries, and theatrical trailers. So let's open it up and take a look here. Here is the disc of The Mummy. Here you have The Mummy's Hand, The Mummy's Tomb, The Mummy's Ghost, and The Mummy's Curse. And then lastly, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. So that's The Mummy, and moving on here, we have The Wolfman, the Complete Legacy Collection. All 7 films from the original legacy, 1935 to 1948. On the back here, we get, of course, the usual list of all the movies and the special features. And I really love the Wolfman film. It stars Claude Rains as well as Lon Chaney Jr. The 7 movies are The Wolfman, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, Werewolf of London, She-Wolf of London. And as you can see here, we get more copies of films we already have in the collection, but I guess you can never have enough movies. So for bonus features, we have Monster by Moonlight documentary, The Wolfman from Ancient Curse to Modern Myth, Pure in Heart, The Life and Legacy of Lon Chaney Jr., He Who Made Movies, The Life and Art of Jack Pierce, The Wolfman Chronicles, Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters, 2 feature commentaries, and then theatrical trailers. And here on the inside, you have the Wolfman disc, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and then you have Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And then you have Werewolf of London and She-Wolf of London. Sorry for the glare there. The black discs are not really showing up well with all the glare and stuff. So that's the Wolfman, and then we move on now to The Invisible Man. And this stars Claude Rains, and this is another really fantastic film. The kind of headlining films in these sets are really, I think, absolutely fantastic. It's the sequels, other than Bride of Frankenstein, where things kind of dip in quality a bit for me personally. So here's the cover for The Invisible Man, the Complete Legacy Collection. And we have all 6 films from the original legacy, 1933 to 1951. And on the back here, you get a list of all of the movies as well as the special features. And I believe we do not have any double dips here, which I think are really nice because, as you can tell, we already have so many copies of the same movies. So for all 6 movies, we have The Invisible Man, The Invisible Man Returns, The Invisible Woman, Invisible Agent, The Invisible Man's Revenge, and Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. For bonus features, we don't have much. Now You See Him, The Invisible Man Revealed, feature commentary with film historian Rudy Belmar, production photographs, and then theatrical trailers. So yeah, not much in the way of special features. But let's take a look at the discs, and here they are. You have The Invisible Man. You have The Invisible Man Returns and The Invisible Woman, and you also have Invisible Agent and The Invisible Man's Revenge. And then lastly here, Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. Next up here, you have Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Complete Legacy Collection. I love Creature from the Black Lagoon. I watched it in 3D a few years ago because the 3D version, I believe, is included here. And it's a really awesome experience to watch the movies that are in 3D, in the original 3D, because that's the way they were intended to watch, or that's the way they were watched, on the big screen back in the day. And it's a really fun experience. If you can do that, I do recommend it. But if you can't, the regular, non-3D version, it doesn't really take away from how great the film is. So we have all three films from the original legacy, 1954 to 1956. And on the back here is pretty standard from what we've been seeing so far. So we have The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, and The Creature Walks Among Us. And for bonus features, 3D versions of Creature from the Black Lagoon and Revenge of the Creature, Back to the Black Lagoon documentary, 3 feature commentaries, production photographs, and theatrical trailers. So opening it up here on the inside, all we have are 2 discs, and we have Creature from the Black Lagoon on its own disc, and we have Revenge of the Creature and The Creature Walks Among Us on their own disc. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Phantom of the Opera, and it's just one film that came out in 1943, also starring Claude Rains. So yeah, we got a lot of Claude Rains in this box set, which is always a great thing for me personally. But yeah, here is the cover where we get to see the Phantom of the Opera. And taking a look here on the back, we get, just a blurb about the movie and the bonus feature details, which there aren't many. And the bonus features are The Opera Ghost, A Phantom Unmasked, feature commentary with film historian Scott McQueen, production photographs, and theatrical trailer. Opening it up here on the inside, all we get is just one disc, Phantom of the Opera. That's it. No, not even any inner artwork when it came to the credits of the movie. Nope, we just get the one disc. So that is that. So those are all of the movies that are in the set. Those are all of the special features that are in the set. But before we go, let's take a quick look at the booklet which comes within the set. And on the cover here, you get the original House of Horror, Universal, and a Monster Legacy. And yeah, for Universal Pictures, the monsters are definitely part of their history, part of their legacy. They have gone back to the Universal monster well time and time again over the years, and to some success, to some not so much success, but they're still trying to reboot or refresh the Universal monsters for a modern age today, as of the recording of this video, and they've had little success, some not so success, and just a lot of bumps along the way. But yeah, the Universal and just horror and monsters have been so much part of just the history of American cinema that it's a really fascinating journey to go on. You can watch all of these films, you can watch, just the essential part of these films, you can watch just the crossover parts of all these movies, or you can even just get a whole entire list of every single Universal horror monster movie of all time, from the silent era all the way up to the modern day, and it's just a really long list of movies to watch. So you can do whatever you want. But here is this booklet here. Inside you get are pages of highlighting each film individually. Like here you have Dracula, and here you have some stuff about the director as well as the actors in James Whale, Boris Karloff. You have different poster art and just highlighting different people, and it's a really, cool, tight book. The binding is really tight on it, so you don't want to bend it too much. But yeah, it's really cool. For those of you who have the Essential Collection already, you already have this book. You probably may own it twice over if you have this collection and that collection. But these I think, are essential for any kind of horror fan, or just people who really aren't into perhaps a lot of major horror stuff, but they want to still, be part of the magic when it comes to the Halloween season. These are, I think, essential films for that. So, that has been my Blu-ray review of the Classic Monsters Complete 30 Film Collection. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel, as well as subscribing.